this video where we're gonna learn how we can transform this room
into this. Looks pretty epic, right? Well, it's gonna be much easier than you think. And we're gonna take it step by step. I'm also gonna show you how we can transform the same exact room in 4 different setups. I've been a digital nomad for years, sometimes moving more than once a month, and every time I need to build a new studio from scratch. By staying professional no matter where I am, I've grown Nodians to over 1.2 million followers and gained 300 million plus views, and also work with some of the biggest brands in the world. We'll break it down step by step so you can stop feeling overwhelmed and finally build a home studio that elevates your content quality, boosts your confidence and authority, and helps you close more clients and land more brand deals. So without further ado, let's start from the very beginning.
Right, now we are in the room and our main goal is to decide where we want to place our background, where we want to design our background. As you can see now, the lighting looks pretty bad because I'm just using the room lights. But you'll soon understand that we need to get rid of every single light, natural light, artificial lights that we have right here in the room, and then we just need to use our own lights to control it and make it look like we want. Now, the first thing, obviously understanding where we want the background to be. And we have here 3 walls available because in this side I have only the bed and the bathroom, so I cannot use anything. And the problem is that this wall is completely white. I'm not a big fan of white walls. They're a little bit difficult to use. So probably I'm gonna go with this one. We have curtains that are not really looking great. And also we have a window door just in the back. And we really don't want any natural light coming in. We wanna control all the lighting in the room. So one thing that we can do to solve this problem is actually putting in trash bags. And I already started doing it, but then I need to finish it. Then I wanna try to remove these curtains because I don't like the color. So let's start by removing the curtains right here. There you go. I'm gonna put some trash bags just right here on top of the window, and this I think will do the trick. Now the next thing is to actually go to the home store and try to find something that we can use, a better looking curtain, maybe some texture that we can find or anything. So I'm just gonna go around and try to find something that I like. I don't know exactly what this is. You can check it out for yourself. It seems like pretty interesting. And also one thing that I noticed with this one is that it's a little bit transparent. So maybe we can use this one and then use some backlights to then have it and shine through this kind of pattern. So I think this can work. It is about 2 meters wide. So I think we are good to go. Then the next thing that we need to understand is, okay, where are we gonna sit? Where are we gonna position the camera? So obviously, usually I try to sit always in the middle between the furthest space that I have and the background, but this really depends on the lens that you have. Right now, I'm probably gonna use a 50mm because this is one of my favorite lenses that I have, but you can use a 35mm if you're doing with your phone. That is also depends on the lens that you're using on your phone, whether you're using portrait mode, cinematic mode, the 2x, the 1x, this is totally up to you. But I'm gonna show you how we can test this out. So I'm gonna place the chair just right here, and then I'm gonna pick my camera right here, and then I'm gonna place it probably around here. There you go. Then I'm gonna turn on the camera, and then I'm gonna try to understand whether the camera picks up only the black area in the background, just like that, or if I can see a little bit on the white, as you can see it right here. So if I see a little bit white, then we have a problem. So I'm gonna try to move the camera and then place it so that I don't see the white wall, but I just see the black pattern. And this is it. I think this looks pretty good. Again, I'm on a 50mm, so it's a little bit, let's say it's 2 arms away from me. So I'm gonna stay, and this looks pretty awesome. Obviously the lighting is really bad, but now I'm just focused on the background, and I can see that the background is fully covered by our black outdoor plastic, which I have no name for. So this looks pretty good. Now we need to move forward and understanding where we're gonna place the light, and also how we can make the background a little bit more interesting. So this is a light that is quite small. This is 200 watt with, again, a 60 centimeters or 65 centimeters softbox. This is by Small Rig. You wanna have the light that is higher than your eye line, 45 degrees in front of you. So let's say the camera is right there. Then we're gonna place the key light right here, and then we are gonna make it tall so that it doesn't enter the frame in the main angle, just like that. If you wanna have a more dramatic look, you wanna have the light a little bit more on this side. If you wanna have a less dramatic look and more even lighting on your face, we're gonna have it just in the front. So we're gonna keep it right here, and then we're gonna make it a little bit taller so that it doesn't enter the main frame. And this is it. Now we're gonna sit again and see how it looks, whether it enters the frames. Okay, this is perfect. It doesn't enter the camera. So now we just need to turn on this one and see how it looks. Boom, and there you go. This looks pretty awesome already. We made such a massive difference just by turning on this key light. The next thing is that we need to turn off also this room light that I have right here. So I'm gonna turn it off, just like that. And as you can see, just by placing the camera and having one key light, we already have the first look of our studio. Now, the intensity of the light completely depends on the lens and camera that you're using. Right now, I'm using a 50mm f1.2, which means it goes super low in aperture and therefore allows a lot of lights in, and I don't need much lights coming from the outside, let's say, external lights. But if you have another lens, let's say a 2.8, 3.5, 4.5 aperture, then you'll probably have to dial in a bit more in the light. Now let's talk about camera settings. And the settings really depend on many factors, including the camera that you have, the lens, the background, and the lighting that you have. So it really depends on a lot of factors, and there's not one way to actually go about camera settings. But I'm gonna tell you what my process is, and hopefully you can apply it to your own situation. Now, the first thing that I do is that I try to set the shutter speed 1 over the frame rate that I use. So most of the time you use either 25 or 30 FPS, and you can see this by checking on the camera what is written on top, and usually it says 25p or 30p or 24p in case you want to go more cinematic, but I highly suggest you don't use 24p. This depends on the country you're in. So in this case, I want to have my shutter speed 1 over 50, and I don't want that to move ever. So I'm gonna try to place my camera dial into manual mode. When I'm taking videos, I always wanna try to control the shutter speed. That's the golden rule. Then the second thing that you wanna control is the aperture. And in this case, I have a lens that goes down to f1.2, and because I wanna try to blur the background as much as I can, I'm gonna use f1.2. Try to stay as low as possible with the aperture of your lens. So again, some lenses allow only f2.8, f3.5, f5.6, so on and so forth. The lower the aperture number, the more blurred is gonna be the background, and the more separation is gonna be between you and the background. Let's say f1.2, you have a shallow depth of field. Whereas if you go f22, you're gonna have everything in focus. So it's not gonna look that cinematic, that professional. Then the next thing is the ISO. And the ISO brings in artificial noise whenever you increase it to then bring it light. So our goal is try to keep the ISO as low as we can to have the highest possible footage. So I'm gonna change it to 100. I'm gonna go here and then change it to 100 ISO. And this is it. Now what I can do is that I can control my light to make sure that I look good. And even though now it looks very dark, my face is perfectly lit. If I increase the light, my face will become completely white. I don't like that. Whereas if it's too dark, there you go, this is too dark, it's not going well because my skin, you can't even see my eyes. So I'm gonna try to increase it, 2%, 3%, 4%, and I think 5% is actually the perfect number. And now we have everything fixed. So we are controlling our light, we have it fixed, we have the camera settings dialed in, they're not gonna move because it's not an automatic, it's in manual, and we have 1 over 50, 25p, f1.2, and ISO 100. So now the next thing that we can do is actually trying to make the background and make a different scenario. So this is scenario 1, and I can already start recording my content. I can use maybe a remote to control the camera if it's further away from me. If you have your phone, maybe you can control it with the Apple Watch. Everything that we mentioned is also gonna work in case you're recording with your phone. So try to have a light on you, and you probably have to drag up and down the exposure on the phone in case you're recording with the phone. phone, or you can use an app like Blackmagic Cam that is gonna allow you to control it with full settings. So just to do exactly with the camera right now, but with your phone. Where there are two things that I usually do. First, I try to have one light on one side, and then second, I'm gonna try to have a plant on the other side. Now here we have a bedside table because I have my bed right there, and then there is a bedside table with a bed lamp as well. So I'm gonna try to turn on this bed lamp and see whether it makes any difference or not, whether if it's strong enough or not. Let's see what happens. There you go. And yeah, it already makes a little difference, but probably it's not powerful enough. So we got two choices. Either we increase the ISO from the camera and decrease the main lighting, or we're gonna have another light right there. But stick with me because I'm gonna show you that in that corner, I'm actually not gonna have that bed lamp, but I wanna try to have a plant. So I'm gonna take a plant right here that I put in a vase, and then I'm gonna place the plant just on top of the bed lamp right there. I think this looks pretty good already, much better. We have another element that is a bit more interesting on that side, and then we need to play around with the other side just to make it more interesting, because now it's a little bit too black and we want to try to change scenario. So with me, I have this Molus G60 that is a super light light from Zion. I have a little modifier that controls the direction of the light. So I'm gonna place this light just behind the curtains. All right now is at 22% and I'm using at 2700 Kelvin, which means 2700 Kelvin, which means it's a warm light. And this looks already so good. We have one light on one side and then we have the plant on the other side. Now the plant is a little bit dark, so we'll work on that, but I just wanna let you understand how cool is this light that is shining through this semi-transparent plastic background. And it cost me only 12 euros, $12 or something like that. So this is the power of knowing and understanding and being able to read exactly what kind of material we can use that could look good on camera. If you want to learn more about creating an epic studio in your own room, check out my home studio blueprint, where I teach you exactly how to do that step by step with 10 examples from start to finish, and I go in depth about design, gear, strategies, live calls, and so on and so forth. More than 500 entrepreneurs already took the course and transformed their spaces. So I'm gonna leave the link down below in the description. We're currently running a promotion, so check it out. Now let's work on this plant right here. I think we can do two things. First of all, we need to try to have it a little bit brighter, so we need to use maybe a pocket light, a tube light, or another small light just to make it brighter. And potentially we can also add some fairy lights, which is an element that I love because they're so cheap but yet so powerful when it comes to framing, when it comes to looking good on camera. So let's try to do that. So instead of using this bed lamp, I'm gonna try to use my Forza 60B by Nightlight just here on top of the bed lamp, which is actually funny. And then I'm gonna turn it on and I'm gonna try to move it towards the plant. Then to shape the light, one thing that we can use DIY is a toilet roll. Just like this, the part inside a toilet roll, toilet paper. This is something that you can use to put on top of the light and see whether it changes. There you go. And now we have only the light that is shining through the plant without touching the vase and without spilling all over. So we're gonna increase probably the light right here. Keep monitoring cam A, there you go. Then we're gonna try to fix just the angle. And this looks pretty awesome. Then I placed all the fairy lights now around the plant, and then we're gonna turn them on. Yeah, and this looks amazing. Look at the fairy light, how good they look. And this is pretty epic. Now there is one more thing that we can do in order to finish this off, is that in case you don't want to use a lavalier mic like this one, is that sometimes if you want to have a little bit higher quality microphone, you can have a podcast mic. And I'm just gonna pick mine, which is this one, which is a Shure MV7 Plus. And the best thing about this one is that I can link it via USB-C to my computer or to my phone, and also has an XLR cable, which means that I can also plug it in with some audio interfaces or something like that. But I'm gonna use it just with my phone. Then I put it on a pole, so this is just the microphone itself. Then I put it on a pole, and then I have a clamp right here so that I can clamp it directly to my key light right here, and I don't need to have another stand. And this is pretty awesome in my opinion. And then I can link this USB-C cable to my computer or to my phone.
And now you can hear me talking directly from this microphone, which is a podcast mic that again can be linked to your computer or to your smartphone.
But this is it for this room. I think it looks really epic, but now let's see how we can transform the same room into two different sets by using the white wall instead. So we're gonna place the chair on this direction, and we're gonna place also the light just right here on this direction, and also we're gonna place the cam A, our main angle, right here. Then we're gonna try to sit in front of it and then rotate it so that we are only taking the white wall behind ourselves. And this is it. This is the angle that you have. You can see that this gray doesn't look really good. Not a big fan of it. And we now have a few alternatives. The first one that I want to show you is by simply using a pocket light to then illuminate the background with any color that you want. So I'm just going to grab a pocket light. And these are 3 examples of pocket lights. This is a Pixel G1S. I guess this found it on Amazon somewhere. This is a PavoTube Nanlite 26C. It's a little bit more expensive because Nanlite has higher quality lights, but it's gonna, all 3 are gonna work. And this is an Aperture MC, but this one is a pocket light but doesn't have any color, and I want to try to use a color. So for now, I'm not going to use this one. So we're going to try with this small light, then we're going to turn it on, and then we're going to change the color, because this is an RGB light, so you can change the color in whatever you want. And we're probably gonna have maybe orange or maybe red. Let's put it a little bit reddish. There you go. And now we just put it at max intensity, and we're gonna place it in the background just like that. There you go. And then we can move forward. And this is it. We have already the white wall that looks way better than it used to with just without colors. Now I can also add another extra light, which is this one right here, on the opposite of my key light, just to have a little bit of a contrast, a little bit of a rim light on this side. So I'm gonna place this one as well on that color, same color. So I'm gonna go down and see whether we can make it that same color. Yeah, this should be it. So once again, I have it on a small tripod right here. And then on this side, we just place it outside the framing. We can also put it on top of this shelf right here. And there you go, maybe actually here. That's it. And now you can see that we added this reflection that looks like it's coming from the background, but it's actually not coming from the background. It's coming from this pocket light. Now, one more thing that maybe we can improve is that we can also try to have that pocket light that we have behind ourselves a little bit higher. So I'm gonna take, again, the bed lamp that we used before, right here. And then I'm gonna try to place this one, let's say like that. Let's see if it works. Okay, that should be fine. Let's see if anything changed. Yeah, the light is a little bit more central. So I like this quite a lot. I mean, it's completely different. It's something that you can try. Potentially, we can also change this one into a different color. So let's go complementary of orange. We have maybe teal. Let's see if that works. This is it. Yeah. I mean, this is pretty interesting, right? You can play around with the colors, you can do whatever you want, and I think it's not bad. But there is another alternative that I'm gonna show you, and this is gonna be scenario number 4. This time I went again into the same house store, and you can find this anywhere. I bought this colored papers. I bought this light blue color because I really like the blue as a color. It's my favorite color, but you can buy any color that you want. And one very cool thing about this is that they're so cheap. They're just 70p each. And I'm gonna place them in the background, and I'm gonna attach it to the wall with some tape and see whether we can make it work as a 4th alternative in the same room. So let's do that. Now, already like this, we have a dark blue, but as we know, if we wanna make things a little bit brighter in the background, then we just need to turn on a light. So in this case, I'm gonna use again the same pocket light right here, but this time I'm gonna change it to simple white, but cold white. So I'm gonna use maybe 5,000, 5,600 Kelvin, just right here. Then again, we're gonna place it right here. Yeah, just behind myself. This is nice, and there you go. Look how good this looks. We just have one key light in front of us, the camera, some very, very cheap paper in the background, but then because we can separate ourselves from the background in a very small space, then we don't see the line from the paper, and this is actually pretty epic. And then one last thing that we can do, obviously, is to turn this light back on again. We can keep from this teal, or we can change it to a little bit darker blue just to match the background. And then again, the same position, just sort of frame, we can see how good this looks. This reflection looks really, really amazing, this rim light and this contour that we have right here. In case you want to know more about creating a studio in any room, I have an entire course that is called the Home Studio Blueprint, where I go more in depth about things. I show you the gear that you should buy, different lenses, different microphones, different environments, and a lot of studio transformations that I'm gonna leave down below in the description, the link, in case you want to check it out. And in case you want me or my team to design your own studio, whether virtually or physically, which means me flying to you, I'm gonna leave a link down below as well in case you want to book a discovery call and see if we can help.